Big plans for Boeing. President Trump leaves for a 12-day trip to Asia tomorrow. Boeing will be among 40 companies represented when the president is in China. It is part of a mission to create billions of dollars worth of investment deals. Joining us now for an exclusive interview is the chairman and CEO and president of Boeing, Dennis Muilenburg. Good to see you, sir. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Good to see you, Maria. Good to be with you. Thank you.
We have so much to talk about. I know you've got a big plan for veterans. Your company has been on fire. Congrats on the great operating performance. But let me start on this trip. How important is this for your company and for the president's commitment to job creation back here at home?
Yeah. Well, it's a very important visit, and we're looking forward to the president's trip to China. We're going to be in full support of that. You know, China is a very important growth market for us, and the relationship between the U.S. and China is pivotal. And when we look at the global aerospace market, it's a growing market, $7.5 trillion marketplace over the next 10 years. We see a world that needs 41,000 new airplanes, and more than 7,000 of those are in China. It's one of the big reasons that we're ramping up production from about 750 commercial airplanes this year to more than 900 airplanes a year by the end of the decade.
Yeah, I mean, you've got incredible demand out there for these commercial aircraft. Take us behind what's going on here, because there's even analysts saying, look, you know, hopefully Boeing can keep up with the demand. That's part of what's, driving your very solid cash flow. What's behind this increase in commercial demand?
Well, you see growing global traffic around the world. Passenger traffic is very robust. We're seeing 7% growth year over year. Passenger traffic growth around the globe continues to outpace GDP growth. And as we connect the world, we're seeing more and more new passengers enter the traveling public. Just for instance, every year, 100 million people travel for the first time by airplane in Asia alone. That's fueling the growth of this marketplace, and as a result, we plan to continue ramping up production. For example, our 737 production line, we ramped it up to 47 airplanes a month this year. Next year, we'll step to 52 a month and go to 57 a month in 2019. And a good portion of this growth is being driven in China. This is all about global competitiveness and winning in a growing marketplace.
Yeah, I want to get to the Singapore Airlines deal in a second. But, you know, when the president did his trip to the Middle East, he came back talking about $400 billion in deals. Obviously, Saudi Arabia was a big part of that. Are you expecting that kind of volume in terms of deal flow out of Asia?
Yeah, we do see very significant opportunities. As you well noted, we had a great signing event with our Singapore Airlines customer this past week for both 777 wide-body aircraft and 737s. We're seeing similar significant growth throughout the Asia-Pacific region, including China. So we expect good orders volume opportunities. And the growth not only in the Asia-Pacific region, but also in the Middle East, and frankly here in the U.S. as well, as you've noted. So we see aerospace as a big growing business area, and we're really investing for the future, investing in future innovation, driving competitiveness, and I'm excited about what that means for the marketplace.
Yeah, characterize that Singapore deal, because you signed, it was a nearly $14 billion deal with Singapore Airlines. You had that ceremonial signing at the White House. The president said there would be more than 70,000 jobs as a result. Is that a true number? What kind of job creation comes out of this deal?
You bet. Those are the kind of job numbers we're talking about. And let me just give you a little context around that. When you think about America's aerospace business, we're a trade surplus sector and one of the biggest growth sectors in our country. Last year alone, aerospace contributed to be an $80 billion trade surplus for the country. And Boeing is a big part of that. And when you think about our supply chain, we have more than 13,000 small and medium businesses in America that are part of our supply chain, and that's more than 1.5 million manufacturing jobs. So it's a significant job generator. Every airplane sale overseas generates U.S. jobs. We have 90% of our jobs here in the U.S., and about 80% of what we build is exported. So it's a great U.S. jobs manufacturing story.
Yeah, I want to know more about that, though. How is it that the jobs can be created in the U.S. when you do a deal with these foreign airlines? Connect the dots for us.
Yeah. Well, when you take a look at foreign airlines growth, as they want to procure the best airplanes in the world, they work in a very globally competitive environment as well. And our product lineup is the best in the world. Our people build great airplanes. Now, when we take a look at the jobs distribution around the world, we do have global supply chains supporting us, but still our core operations are here in the U.S. And as I said, 90% of our Boeing jobs are here in the U.S., and about 80% of our supply chain jobs are in the U.S. We build the airplanes here, we export them to our various customers, and then we support them in country with those customers. So it's a great win-win kind of business for our global operations and for jobs here in the U.S.
So what do you want to see in terms of trade? I mean, I know that, your competitor, Bombardier, was able to sort of circumvent things and able to sell to the U.S., and it was putting others at a disadvantage. What kind of changes do you want to see in terms of our trade deals with our friends overseas?
Well, I think it's really important that we have a level playing field for global trade. We're more than happy to compete. We love to compete. Competition makes us better. But it's really important that everybody plays by the same rules. And in the recent Bombardier matter, that's simply the case. We want to make sure that everybody's playing by the same rules. In that case, we saw government subsidies and some dumping behavior that's counter to international trade rules. And again, we think it's important that we play by the same rules. When we do that, we're very confident that we can win in the marketplace.